Parts 1 and 2 of this series, we discovered that media's presentation on the Norway Spiral was disinformation, complete with fallback story and disinformation staging. We also proved that Norway's HAARP-like ice cap project was responsible, and came up with some reasons why they might want to keep it secret. Which brings us to Part 3. Why was there a conspiracy to cover up the work of students at a public university? In the last video, we answered that to a degree, learning that 3D Radar, a company spun off of IceCap Research, became part of the U.S. military-industrial complex, serving the needs of HAARP and other agencies. But that is not justification for making an entire project go black. No, something else is being hidden. The clues lie within that relationship. Recall that we talked about disinformation staging and how that was critical to covering up a real conspiracy. In this case, media disinformation staging included a very broad range of conspiracies. Among the media conspiracy theories cited above, we find the Montauk Project and Philadelphia experiment, which involved creation of a black hole and time travel. And of course it is my new sci-fi time travel book, In Mindless Times, where we find the collision between conspiracies and sci-fi. The disinfo staging also included HAARP itself, as well as Project Bluebeam, which we're going to take a closer look at. Let's start with time travel. Research from my book shows that you don't exactly time travel as such, but you do create a gateway. Physicists who are currently working on time travel tell us this does involve creating a localized black hole, and we have seen this in the histories of Project Montauk and the Philadelphia experiment. The popular belief being that the two experiments combined somehow and allowed the USS Eldridge to vanish into a black hole and its crew members to travel in time. Eyewitness accounts of the 1941 and 1983 experiments do show that there are similarities with the Norway Spiral. All three events used 3 radar systems and 2 variant technologies. All 3 used ionospheric heaters based on the same type of dipole array. All 3 of them used radiosonde devices in the same way. All 3 of them relied on plasma generation. And all 3 were described as having black holes and spirals. As romantic as the notion of time travel is, we have a very similar situation with respect to Project Bluebeam. The Project Bluebeam conspiracy holds that the New World Order will try to stage the coming of Christ in order to seat the Antichrist by the means of holographic projection around the world. A lot of people believe that the Norway Spirals were an experiment to this end, and there may be proof. Let's compare basic laser holography to the technology behind the Norway Spiral. One uses a real object, the other uses a digital object. One relies on a laser beam split into 3 specific beams. The other would rely on a digital stream of data split into 3 different radar signal types. One beam goes through a lens to the object for refraction purposes, and the 3D ground radar systems are also refractive. A second laser beam and mirror is used as a reference source, and the heater array is used to create a depression in the ionosphere suitable to act as a lens and a mirror. The third use of the laser is through a lens to activate the holographic viewing plate, whereas radar induces a plasma field which acts as an optic and would allow you to see the object along a plane of sky between the radars. You wouldn't need a plate. Keep in mind that Patrick Oman's view of the spiral gives us a clue that we might be looking at a hologram. His view is the only one that lets us see the entire tale. Independent research by Spell Consulting tells us this is what everyone saw, a spiral greater than 100 miles at several hundred miles distance. Yet what Oman saw was something entirely different, a much smaller yet more complete spiral at an entirely different viewing angle. Now look at this. Here is the Troms ice cap site. And here is the Kiruna site, just a few miles from where Oman took his picture. Kiruna is actually the headquarters for ISCAT, and there are 2 other sites located nearby. And yet 2 more sites. And if we plot them, we see that we can draw perfectly straight lines between 2 different sets of 3 such sites. But there's more. Take a closer look at the Oman sighting. You'll notice that there is a radar site in his line of sight, and that there are 2 sites that form a line which is parallel to his angle of view. With that in mind, let's zoom back and take a look at the Troms area sightings. They also had an ISCAT site in their line of view, and they had 2 Kiruna sites also form a straight line parallel to their angle of view. Can this be coincidental? I don't think so, and there may just be a way to find out. As it happens, there are similar spiral sightings in China and in Thailand. What if we could establish similar straight-line relationships there, or other ties to ISCAT or HAARP? I did that research, and you won't believe the results. In point of fact, a very long list of very interesting items were uncovered, and frankly, we're going to have to go into overtime here. We're going to need a part 4. It's so important, I promise to get it out in 10 days. So with the closing credits, let me once more plug my appearance at ConspiracyCon, as well as In Mindless Times, the world's first ergonomic book, and also allow me to give you some new music to listen to that I've composed.